welcome back to Pinstripe Press, episode 30. Wherever you might be watching, however you might be watching, welcome back. It's been a wild first week of baseball. So exciting. A great start for the Yankees, and I think you got to say it's been fun to watch the team again. How do you feel, Mike?
Absolutely, man. Good 4-0 start. It's going good. I mean, 3 come from behind wins. Team's looking pretty solid. I think just the energy out there is a lot different, and you can really tell. I'm excited. We got another series coming up, starting today. But to sweep the Astros in a 4-game series, that's to start the season. There's nothing much more you could ask for. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But it's been good. I'm sure we'll be humbled soon enough. But right now we're feeling good.
Yeah, I think you got to be optimistic, but you can't get too over the top because, it's a very long season. A lot of things happen in the season, and, I guess just tip of the cap to, the team so far. And I think it's good to get those first couple wins, and especially to be versus the Astros. I don't know. It was just to me, it felt weird. Obviously they've kind of owned us for the past couple seasons, especially in the playoffs. But to just go in there and sweep, it just I don't know, it felt really good.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into the Yankees, I think I'll just run through the last final few league moves and signings that we've seen. Blake Snell, the big one. I'm sure you guys already knew about this, but he's on the Giants now. So that pretty much just capped off their insane offseason. They spent a lot. They brought in a lot of guys. They're probably going to be a force to be reckoned with, competing with the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers for that division. Then you got Santiago Espinal, trade from the Blue Jays to the Reds. Got Michael Lorenzen to the Rangers, J.D. Martinez to the Mets, and Jordan Montgomery to the Diamondbacks. Not quite sure if we're going to see him in this upcoming Diamondback series. Depends on where he is in their rotation, because tonight will be their number 5, and then we'll see their 1 and 2. So Gallen and maybe Kelly. So I don't know if we'll see Montgomery, but he is with that team. So they also spent a lot this offseason. I think the last 2 of the Boris 4 to get picked up. Gotta say, not the greatest of deals for either of these guys. I think, you're looking at short-term deals where these guys will maybe opt out after first year or 2. But I guess, for the reigning World Series runners-up, they get a really solid pitcher. So interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I guess technically the off-season frenzy is officially over with, like you said, Boris's crew he's got going on over there, free agents. And I don't know. I think that's a good spot for Monty, at least the Diamondbacks. I don't know. I think I viewed him as he's kind of like a number 3 in the rotation. It was going to be a lot of money to go get a guy like him, especially for him to be probably the 3rd best guy in that rotation. But good for him, and I think the Diamondbacks got a pretty well put together team over there. So like you said, they should be definitely competing.
Yeah. So Yeah, since our last episode, obviously the season started. We got news of the opening day roster. I don't think there were too many surprises, but um, you had guys like Nick Birdie on there who, made the opening day roster. Um, Luis Heel, of course, became the fifth starter in the rotation. He's going to be starting tonight. Luke Weaver made the bullpen, and you had Jemai Jones starting on the bench with the injury to DJ LeMahieu. Um, but yeah, I mean, as you expected on the bench, we had a catcher, um, we had a catcher, Jemai Jones, we had um, Grisham and John Birdie, who we traded for. Um, included Ben Rortvet in that trade. He got sent to Tampa in a 3-team trade. Um, so yeah, we get John Birdie. We've seen him play one game. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move to fill in some needs on the bench. Didn't really have a backup at those positions with both Peraza and DJ being hurt. Um, so I think it's a good pickup. He's a solid, contact guy. Got some speed. Hopefully, he makes a little bit of an impact off the bench.
I mean, let's talk about that play yesterday. I mean, he pretty much saved the game there. That hard hit ball down the line, obviously diving play, easily would have been the game, would have been in the corner. So I mean, that's a props to him. Obviously, he didn't. I don't know. I mean, for his first game, I think kind of give him a little slack because I know, he
He
didn't.
hit an RBI.
Yeah, he did have that hit. Struck out a couple times, but I don't think it's a bad depth piece at all. I mean, contact guy, and like we were saying, he doesn't gotta be a hero. If he can play his role just like everyone else, we're seeing that with Volpe. I mean, Volpe's had a great start to the season so far because I think that pressure is off his shoulders, and he realizes, he can just go out there and play, similar to Cabrera. And when these guys play their roles, everything starts clicking, and it just helps some of the star power guys we got like Soto, Stanton, and hopefully Judge starts to get going too. Because that's the crazy part. You know, the team, they just swept the Astros, and Judge was not good at all at the plate, at least. He was pretty much disappeared there, and we still, came out with a win, and everyone contributed there. Whereas last year, you know, if Judge didn't perform, we were going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good to go out there. Obviously, like you said, get wins while Judge isn't performing, but like also 3 come from behind wins. Um, a lot of thanks to the bullpen for those games. Um, but yeah, I mean, talking about Birdie, obviously he got the start at third base in yesterday's game 4 of the Astros series, moving Cabrera over to shortstop with Volpe out to a stomach bug. Um, he got scratched from the lineup yesterday, but he'll be back in the lineup tonight. Um, and obviously, we have Cabrera starting at third base now because of that injury to DJ LeMahieu. It's looking a little bit more serious than we first might have thought. It's looking like a fracture in the foot. So I think they said he was going to be re-imaged in about 2 weeks. But I'd expect him to be out at least a month. So yeah, I mean that's a blow to the lineup. But if Cabrera can keep like performing how he is and producing for this at the back end of the lineup, I'm fine with keeping him in there. Right now he had that 4-hit game, playing all right defense, couple of homers already, so good for him. Looking like he's improved a lot since last season.
That would be really good if Cabrera can continue this up. I mean, I don't know if he will, but if he could play well, it definitely could help some issues at least for a while. DJ's out, and he's one of those prospects, so who knows, how much he could develop more. But if he starts going, that only helps us. Speaking of his 4-hit game, let's just get into breaking down this past series. Started Thursday, opening day. This was um, long awaited. Terrible season last year into this off season that was heavily anticipated. This game was definitely circled to be the first game. Versus the Astros. Obviously, it's a rivalry now, and obviously Cole goes down with the injury, and Nestor gets the call to get the opening day ball. And I'm gonna be honest, after the first 2 innings, I was not really too happy. Going down 4-0. I started to get flashbacks from last season. I mean, we weren't producing on offense at all. I mean, I think it was the first 3 innings we had bases loaded, nine runners stranded on the base. We were looking like last season's team. Um, and then who else but Juan Soto? Juan Soto gets it started, gets a single, and drives in a run. And then that 5th inning, we scored 3. Even just like the way we scored them too. Rizzo got hit by a pitch. Volpe walked. It's not the flashy plays that kind of this whole series won us these games. Obviously, the games further on in the series, there was a little bit more splash, but at least this first 2 games, they were slowly but surely scoring runs, grinding the at bats out, and that's all the team has to do. We don't want Hollywood type like movie drama play. Like we just want just to just grind, do what they can do, and we saw that this game, and then obviously Cabrera homered, tied it up, and then Verdugo got his sack flies, and at least for the offense, I was kind of happy how they turned it around. At least, um, you know, Soto stayed consistent, and then Cabrera, that breakout game, 2 hits and you know the homer. But I mean, the question was definitely the pitching for Nestor. I mean, 4 earned runs through 5. He did. I do think he kind of bounced back. He had 5 strikeouts, but the start was not ideal. And the bullpen looked great.
Yeah, I mean, Nestor, it was a rough one. I mean, first 2 innings, obviously gave up 3 in the first, 1 in the second. It was that homer to Jake Myers. But after that, to be honest, I thought he looked pretty good. He really settled in. After 3 more innings, at the beginning, I really thought like, oh, this isn't going to be good. He's going to be out after a few innings, and then we're going to need our bullpen to just get us to the end of this game. But to be honest, like getting us through 5 after starting that way, I'll absolutely take it. It's the first game of the season. He's not used to being that opening day starter. I think he settled in even in the first game. I think once he gets into a groove and into a rhythm and in the rotation, he'll be fine. And I think even once we get Cole back, he's just going to play his role as like a probably even the 4 in the rotation. So I'm not too worried about him. I think just the way he bounced back, allowed us to stay in the game. And yeah, we're producing runs, the manufacturing runs. That's something that we haven't really done too much of the last few years. Relied on the long ball, Um, and like you said, we got a lot of base runners, a lot of good at bats, and that just puts our guys in spots to grab some RBIs. Doesn't have to be like massive hits every time, but you got walks, hit by pitches, bloops that drive guys in, and then obviously you do got guys that are gonna hit the deep ball. So yeah, first game was encouraging. Not the best. I still don't think after the first game everyone was like super excited, but it was still a great win. I don't think any of us would have still expected at that time to go ahead and sweep the series, but um, yeah, I think it was a good win. Bullpen gave up no runs. Clay Holmes had a little bit of a shaky ninth, but our defense helped him out there. So yeah, I would take that win for sure.
I mean, that Juan Soto, throw out in right field there to save the game. I mean, I don't that was just I mean, that first game just to get a glimpse, Soto driving in driving in runs and then also putting on a show in the field too. I mean, that just right there, just like I don't know, that got you going like, all right, this guy is going to help us win games. And
Yeah,
you did have those talks like you really do hope we can retain him. Um, it's gonna be a lot of money, I'm sure. You could argue it's probably going to be close to Otani's contract. I mean, if he can keep it up too, like I don't know, he should have great stats, and he's going to help this team win. And we already saw it from the first opening series.
yeah. I mean, gets a RBI in that game to start off the scoring for us, and then makes that huge play. I gotta say, it's like I don't know. It's just a breath of fresh air. It feels like he really just fits in to the rotation. He's exactly the guy that we needed. So yeah, I guess he showed glimpses of that in game one, which is good.
Yeah. On to the next day, we got Friday night baseball on Apple TV. The first Apple TV game of the season. Were you watching on Apple TV?
Me?
Yeah.
I think I was. I think you might know that too. Uh, caught the game together.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was another really tight game. No, actually, it was tight. It was tight for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, we caught that game together, and towards the end got super exciting. So it was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we were down 1-0 till the seventh inning. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, we just went 2 runs in the seventh, 4 in the eighth, and then just one final one in the ninth. And, this was a game to watch because Rodon was on the mound, his first game of the season. A lot of question marks around him. How will he do? Will he bounce back from last season? And I do think he had a pretty good outing. Um, I mean, he went, a little over 4 innings, 5 hits given up, only 1 run, and 4 strikeouts, which it's not. I think I'd put that down as a good performance, especially facing this Astros lineup. I mean, they got some guys every part of their lineup from top to bottom. So for him to just fight through this lineup, I think kudos to him. Obviously, you'd like him to go longer, but he still kept that game 1-0. You look at last season, he probably would have he was giving up 5-6 runs. So for him to be 1-0, give this offense the chance, especially coming after the game before that, the offense, it took some time and then they got going, came back, and we saw that in this game. Obviously, they were down 1-0 the whole game till the seventh inning. They also had multiple chances with runners in scoring position, a lot of bases loaded. And I think that's the thing is it's been good and bad. Like, we're getting on base. we're getting those hits. The problem is we're not executing, which you'd like to see change, but I think it's better we're getting on base than not, um, which is different than last year. I mean, I feel like last season we couldn't buy a hit, even buy a run. But yeah, I mean, I think we stayed patient and again, who else but Juan Soto? I mean, 3-hit game for him, another RBI and a walk too, and that's the thing that's crucial for him is he works at bats. Like the amount of counts he'll be in that's 0-2 and he just works it, he gets it 3-2 and then works a walk. I mean, he's the one who's getting on base, and ultimately setting it up for Judge, who did have a kind of a poor series. I mean, I know at least in that game, second game of the series, he had eight runners left on base. So we're doing what we're supposed to do. You want our guys to get on base to then set up for our heavy hitters like Soto and Judge. It's just obviously Judge didn't capitalize there, but I think it shows. We win two games there, and Judge didn't do a single thing. Even if he's not playing well, we still got guys besides him who have stepped up where we haven't been able to get that for honestly the past couple of years. Just people haven't been able to step up, and it's been like a one-man show. And then again, Cabrera. I mean, this was his 4-hit game, 3 RBIs. I mean, he's just been on fire, and I hope he can. I hope he can keep it up because I feel like he's that young guy, and he brings a lot of energy to the clubhouse. He's playing with nothing to lose. He's gotten opportunities before and kind of gotten benched, and this opportunity he's got now, I think he's just gonna take it and hopefully run with it, and just do the best that he can.
Yeah, I think for Cabrera, it's important that he gets like this consistent playing time, because when he'll it's hard for any MLB player coming off the bench not knowing when you're going to get the opportunities to play, and so now he's the starter. He's played all 4 games thus far, and yeah, he's making the most of it. 4-hit game in this one, had a big home run in game 1, and then obviously 3 RBIs here in game 2. But yeah, I mean, what more can you ask for from him? He's been great. He's going to be hitting down in the 9 hole for the most part. So if we can keep getting something like that out of him in the 9 hole, that's perfect. Especially if we keep getting guys on base like we are. Mentioned Rodon. Would have liked to see something a little bit better out of him. Obviously, on paper it looks great, like only giving up 1 run, but to be honest, I think he was just giving up a lot of hard contact, a lot of what we've been used to seeing in the past year or so. So, I mean, yeah, props to him though. I mean, he got it done when it mattered. He got himself into jams and out of them. Got some clutch strikeouts. Obviously, the defense was still behind him, backing him up, making some plays. But I think there's a basis here. We can see that we can improve on this. I think there's definitely some potential for him to get back where he used to be. Obviously, you'd like to see his K rate still go back up to where it was, but yeah, I think it was an okay outing for him. And once again, bullpen not giving up any runs, giving us the chance to come back in this game. And then obviously we capitalized in the 7th and the 8th. So yeah, shout out, Luke Weaver, who gets the win in this one. The lefties, the 2 new guys, Gonzalez, Ferguson, Birdie made an appearance in the 5th inning, and also Clayton Beeter in the 9th, 3-pitch 9th inning. Pretty dang impressive. Obviously, since then he's been sent down to AAA. which is a little confusing. But yeah, yeah, three pitch ninth inning from him. That was the game where there was that awkward double play with Alvarez rounding first base after the wild throw. But yeah, yeah. One more thing from this game was this was a game I believe Torres got hit by the pitch in the thumb, had to be removed from the game. But turns out he was back in the lineup the next night, so he's fine. Hasn't had didn't have a great series, but maybe he'll bounce back eventually. But yeah, scary for a while, not scoring a run until the seventh inning. But at the end of the day, we win 7-1, start off 2-0. Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all. Heading into Game 3, Saturday Night Baseball on Fox. Looking for the series win here. And it's the Stro show. Marcus Stroman gets the ball rolling for the Yanks. His debut for the Yankees. Once again, taking on a tough Astros team. Going into this, a lot of questions too with him, a lot of curiosity. And I think he can be an X factor for this team. And he had not a bad outing. And I think this type of outing is what you've been expecting from him. You know what you're going to get from him. He's a ground ball pitcher. He's not going to get those high strikeouts. He's going to work batters. He's going to keep them in counts. And, he's going to get outs. He doesn't really give up homers a lot. I mean, you know what you get from him. And, we got exactly that. He went 6 innings, 4 hits only. He didn't give up any runs, but technically 3 runs did get scored because of errors. And definitely stupid errors, but also I think it was it Abreu who got hit and they called it. He got hit, but he went around. Like, it should have been a strike. And that ended up, them scoring from the next at bat.
Yeah. This was a game I wasn't sure we were going to come back from, just because they go up and score another run in the 5th inning to make it 3-1, and then all of a sudden you got the big blast in the 7th inning. I believe that was Cabrera with his second homer, and then immediately we're right back in it and we take the lead. And then the bullpen gets it done again, not allowing a single run in this entire series, which was, fantastic. 0 ERA out for the bullpen. Obviously, those 3 runs were scored on Stroman. They weren't earned. They were unearned runs, but I think still I consider him, he had the most impressive performance, in my opinion, out of the starters. 6 innings is exactly what we need from him. 4 Ks, 4 hits. That's really solid. If he can be a guy like this the whole year, that's what we need him to be. Is just consistent, getting us through, eating some innings. He'll be probably the three guy once Cole gets back. So I liked what I saw from him. On offense, Soto did it again. Big homer. I believe it was the go-ahead homer. It was the go-ahead homer. He went 2 for 5 in that game. Cabrera once again getting it done with a homer. Volpe had a homer, I believe it was the 8th inning. And Clay Holmes getting it done in the 9th. So, not too bad.
Yeah. I think, you keep following around these games and our breakdowns. I mean, it's just it's just Soto. Every game so far, he's the one capitalizing. He's the one who's getting these hits, scoring these guys, and he's made an impact immediately. That's a thing. I think obviously you knew he was going to be good. I guess I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know if he would start off this well. You know, with this hot start. And yeah, he's proven that. I think we know what we're gonna get. I think it's also, I think, opened up my eyes to how good he actually is. Um, I think, like we've been saying before, he's like a generational talent. And I think he is one of the best players in the league. So yeah, the Yankees get that win 5-3. Like Mike said, you know, they another comeback for the Yanks. They pull it out and they win that game there, and then we head into Sunday, Easter baseball, looking for the sweep. And we got the win already for the series, so happy with that. But why not go for the sweep, which is even better? And Clark Schmidt is on the mound, where again, I think there's a lot of people put on a microscope just because of the failure the season was last year. And I think with Cole being gone, the rotation is gonna have a lot more pressure on its plate. And I think Clark Schmidt is a guy who hopefully we could get towards the back end of that rotation, kind of not kind of to be pretty successful, for these late games in the series. And I mean, he was starting off really good. I mean, he started the game off great. I think it was. I mean, through his first three, he had like 4 or 5 strikeouts, like a couple hits, and no runs given up. And then he just gave up that freaking homer to Altuve. Um, and then I don't know. After
It
that,
was
I don't know.
it was really mostly just that third time through the order,
Yeah.
like we've seen from him.
Hmm.
He really struggles when once getting through to the third time through the order. So he gave up that homer, and then he got pulled, and then I think Loizaga let in the two guys that Schmidt had on base. So Schmidt had all three earned runs. Um, I mean, like he he got into the sixth inning. So I think all in all, it was a good outing from him. Um, every one of the starters I think had a decent enough outing. I think if we can keep with this until Cole gets back, we'll be all right. You know, allowing 3-4 runs is acceptable as long as our offense is hitting and getting on base, which it has been throughout the first series. But yeah, those 3-4 runs like we've been giving up, I think it's manageable. Like as we've seen, the offense can get this done. There's a different feeling around the offense, so we have a little bit more confidence in them right now. Um, and everyone's contributing really. So yeah, yesterday's game, um, another really close win, 4-3. Um, Once again, Holmes is in the ninth, and a little bit scary again. Giving up some hard contact. But shout out to the defense out in the outfield. We mentioned Soto, but also Alex Verdugo has been great in the outfield. Made some great plays. Um, Feels good to have some good athletic outfielders out there that know how to play. Um, and he made a couple really good plays throughout the series, but also especially in this game 4. Shout out Birdie as well, who made the game another game saving play in the ninth as well.
Yeah. I think a good overall series for the Yankees, and I think you got to take in consideration I mean, look at the team we're facing. This is a World Series contender. Uh, they're a great team, and for our rotation, at least to pitch to the extent that they did. They kept us in these games, and I think they did do a good job. I mean, it wasn't like we were playing the A's or like the White Sox. Like we're playing a great team, and as long as our pitching can keep us in it, we know what we have with our offense. We got a offense again, and we just gotta stay consistent. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Once again, the bullpen still looking really strong. Starting pitching, could say it's been a little iffy, but for the most part, it's been decent. We'll see how Luis Gil performs tonight. And the offense much improved since last year. I think seeing the ball a lot better, working the counts, getting on base, a lot of walks in this series, which is not a bad thing by any means. I think once the guys get into a rhythm, keep getting on base, Judge is going to be driving in plenty more runs. Soto's, I just got to say this about Soto. He's been fantastic. Obviously he's batting 529, won AL Player of the Week in his first week as a Yankee, but he's not going out there and doing, too much. He's doing his job. Most of his hits were singles, which, maybe not the flashiest thing, but like, come on, like he's getting on base. He's doing his job. He's got like a 600 on base percentage. His approach at the plate is unbelievable. And then obviously he did hit one home run. But yeah, I mean, once Judge gets going, there's really, Soto's going to be on base as we've seen, and you're going to have Judge right behind him, clobbering some homers. So we'll be in a good spot. And to go 4-0 against a team that is really good, perennial postseason appearances, ALCS appearances. Doing this against them, gotta love it. I mean, everyone's contributing. We've mentioned, most people. I'd say, Volpe standing out, having a lot better at bats. Verdugo, great defense, a couple good at bats as well. Soto, even Anthony Rizzo has been really solid up there. So yeah, gotta love it. One thing is with the catchers, Trevino and Wells. Neither of them have been great, but neither of them have been awful as well. I think kind of got the answer to our question of, who's going to start and who's not. It's kind of just a 50-50, an even split between the two catchers. So, yeah, I think Wells will get a lot of the at-bats versus righties. Trevino will get a lot of the at-bats versus lefties. But got to like how things are going for sure.
Yeah, you got to be happy if you're a Yankees fan. You got to be excited right now. And this kind of leads me into a similar thing we had going on last season when we started this podcast. If you guys remember our segment of the good, the bad, the ugly.
Back, baby.
I think it's a good time to bring it back. The season's back, so why not bring this segment back? So based on this series, I would say there was a lot of good, not too much, at least ugliness. But I think the one ugly thing that stood out to me was, I think I'd have to say Aaron Judge. He went 2 for 16 at the plate this series. In the opening series, which, he's the captain. You could argue he is our best player. Obviously Soto's here now, but you would like him to step up And I think it was a little bit disappointing that he didn't do that, especially with, the numbers we've talked about and the amount of people who were left on base for him, set up perfectly for him to drive and runs. And then he either strikes out or is grounded into multiple double plays. So I think that's the only disappointing part I saw from this past series. But the Yankees did a good job of not letting that get to them, and the rest of the team stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, and Judge is going to get better. It's just he's that good. He can be in a slump sometimes. He's prone to being a streaky hitter sometimes. So there's no doubt he'll bounce back. Um, and like we've said throughout this whole episode, we've shown the ability to win games even without him at his best. But yeah, I guess to his standards, I'd say it was ugly. But I think that's the only thing we can really call out as ugly for this series.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I think it's kind of tough for the bad. Um, I mean, what do you think was, I guess, a bad part of the series? Any performances stand out?
Uh, I guess I don't want to say it was even bad, but I guess I could give it to Nestor. Maybe his outing. First two innings were shaky. We obviously talked about how he bounced back and kept us in the game, not allowing any more runs after the first two innings. But obviously, you'd want to see something better out of your opening day starter. Kind of really need him to be solid and step up while Garrett Cole is out. So, not great from him. Another guy I want to say could also fit this category. Probably Gleyber Torres. He's supposed to be fill-in leadoff guy with DJ LeMahieu being out, and he didn't have a great series. Got a couple of hits throughout the series. Could also just be a Judge thing where he's just not into the swing of things yet. It could be him dealing with something with his finger after getting hit by the pitch in Game 2. But yeah, I mean, you want to see more out of your leadoff hitter, especially when you've got Soto and Judge behind that can drive those guys in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good point. Definitely would want our leadoff guy to do a better job. And I don't know. I mean, do you think Gleyber fits that role of a leadoff hitter?
I don't put him there. To me, he strikes me as a guy that I see him as a clutch hitter. I think he delivers in spots with runners in scoring position. I put him like right behind Rizzo. I put him in the 5 hole. That would be ideal for me. Obviously, we don't have our leadoff hitter right now, but I think along down the line, if we keep seeing Volpe have good at bats, walking, putting the ball in play, I wouldn't mind seeing him in that leadoff spot, to be honest. At least for the meantime while DJ's out, because I think Gleyber fits in much better, in the 5 or the 6 spot. Having a guy like DJ or Volpe leading off. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think for the good, I think it's pretty clear. I'm kind of on the edge of two people. I kind of want to give it to both. I'm thinking Juan Soto and Cabrera. Obviously Soto, one player of the week, but I feel like you gotta give a spotlight to Cabrera. I mean, he had an amazing series. And I thought either him or Soto would have definitely got player of the week. So I think I'd like to give it to almost both. They both had a great performance, almost identical, homers, RBIs, and they also had multiple multi-hit games.
Yeah, I mean, Soto obviously had the clutch moments, the go-ahead homer, Game 3 go-ahead RBI in the ninth uh, yesterday, Game 4. Um, but I think like we know what Soto's capable of, and then for a guy like Cabrera to bounce back from hitting around 200 last year, not getting that much playing time, and he comes in as a starter and has arguably the best series out of anyone on the roster. Uh, I think you got to give it to him. As a relative performance, I think he really stands out as that one guy. But I kind of really just want to give it to both of them, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah, both great performances, and hopefully they both can keep it up because it definitely helps. I mean, Cabrera being in that bottom of the order definitely has driven in those runs and also gotten on base for the guys in the top of the order. And I think that's why, people underappreciate, the bottom of the order guys. They really do play a role. And there's a reason why they're kind of almost called like second leadoff, because you want those guys to get on. And you also want them to score guys. And I mean, to have a great like 8 hitter is, you don't see that a lot on teams. So I mean, hopefully we found ours possibly for a little bit of time that will just help us get over that hump. But I mean, I think after kind of digesting all of this, I think the biggest thing I've seen is I think there is an energy shift in this team. I don't know. I think at least we said it immediately. It's fun watching this team again play, and I feel like the team is having fun. You got Soto.
That outfield is
Yeah,
electric.
that is.
After every game, them
Uh-huh.
coming together and doing chest bumps, whatever.
Yeah,
Verdugo's getting hype. He's like saying like we're dogs out here.
yeah,
It's just fun. Like something we haven't seen in a very long time. I think it's exciting. The guys are feeling good. I'm hoping Soto's enjoying playing in New York so we can bring him back. Uh, but yeah, the energy is definitely different. Feels good.
yeah. I think guys they want to be here and they want to play for each other. I think to kind of end this off here. Obviously, we've had a lot to talk about, but I kind of wanted to ask. So after this weekend, this series, kind of, I guess, kind of like us, we talked about what we took from it, but after watching this series, what has this kind of shown um to you, and kind of what is it like what did you get out of it, and kind of like how has this like changed your mind, and what do you based on after this weekend, what do you expect now going forward?
So yeah, I think it's really important to like obviously it's still very early, but like we made this big turnaround in one off season. Adding Soto was huge, but I think adding like all the pieces we added have really contributed thus far. Um, so I think the way we've turned it around really has been it's been exciting. The team's in high spirits, but going forward, I mean, I hope at this point we are really competing for um, the division title with the Orioles because they look really good as well. Um, I think I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't expect us to be going out every night and winning, like sweeping teams left and right. Um, this is obviously a high point of the season already, but um, I want to be winning series consistently. I want to be clearly ahead of the Rays and the Blue Jays. and I want to be competing with the Orioles. That's what I want to see. Um, I want to see guys stepping up when other guys are maybe in some slumps. I want to see the guys, keep having fun, and um, picking each other up. So yeah, I mean, that's that's my outlook so far.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it's definitely been a momentum shift, and I think I just hope they keep it up, and I think they will. I think we got great depth, and I think the good thing is we got a bunch of personalities on this team. I do think that's why it's an I think it was an underrated move to get Verdugo. I think his personality, just helps the team. I think it's different, it's different personality than we've had before. And I think we're already seeing it, like you said. He's talking about how, they got some dogs in that outfield. And I think people build on that and they just play better, you know, when the morale's high. And, I think it is. And yeah, I mean, we got a 3-game series coming up starting tonight in a couple hours versus the Diamondbacks, who are another good team. So we're going to back series versus a good team. And then, we head to the stadium for opening day and at home on Friday, I believe, versus the Blue Jays. So that should be interesting. So yeah, I mean, starting off the schedule with um, three tough series.
Yeah, I mean, the Diamondbacks have been one of the best hitting teams throughout the start through the first series. So the bullpen and obviously the starters will have a tough lineup to keep rolling against. But as far as our pitchers, we've got Luis Gil on the mound tonight, most likely going to be Nestor and Carlos Rodon for the next 2 games of the series. Um, Not exactly sure who we are facing. Um, I think it might be Brandon Pfaadt tonight. And then
Mm-hmm.
we'll probably get Gallon and Merrill Kelly, as I said earlier. Um, so yeah, it'll be a tough series, no doubt. Um, but I think if our offense and our bullpen keeps going the way it does, we'll have another good series to talk about in the future. Um, One quick thing before we end: Yankees did just make a trade for right-hander Jake Cousins. Um, Traded uh, for some cash considerations. So we add him to the bullpen. DFA Tanner Tully, um, and yeah, so another guy that's a proven bullpen guy rather than maybe a long reliever like Peter, who's more of a starter / minor league guy. So yeah, we'll see him most likely this series. And yeah, also trade for JT Brubaker, who is injured, but we get him from the Pirates as well.
Season's underway. It's officially started. It's good to be back. We'll try to have a consistent schedule now that the season's going. Um, Definitely once a week, maybe twice a week. But we definitely, I think we like getting these out after a series ends and right before the next one starts. But we'll definitely be consistent. Uh, and yeah, be sure to check out all of our channels either on YouTube, Spotify, and also Instagram. We're
TikTok
active.
too.
Oh, TikTok too. Yeah, we're active on all. And we post different content on each. And yeah, the links to the descriptions the link will be in the descriptions for um, all of our platforms. So yeah, thank you for listening and tuning in. Till next time. Go Yanks.
See you next week. Peace.